Hey, Brian Parker here with a new video on a recent article I just read. It was September 10th of 2025, and it's from the New York Times, but it's focusing on something we all have to worry about, which are the rise in debt collection lawsuits. Again, the article that I'll attach to the website is Debt Collection Lawsuits Are Rising. Here's what to do to fight back. And I'm going to show you what to do to fight back, but let me first show you what the article focuses on. They talk about how the debt collection lawsuits are exploding across America. Back in 2022 during the pandemic, I did a lot of work during the pandemic. A lot of times just sitting on my hands, just waiting for cases because all the courts are closed. I was doing a lot of work in Michigan, so they got real serious up there, too serious. And so I was sit there not doing anything, and that was 2022. That was 4.7 million collection lawsuits were filed back then. This article points out that in 2025, that it's shooting through the roof now. So a research study called January Advisors, that's what the article is based upon, did a new study, and they looked at 7 states and looked at all their filings, all their collection lawsuit filings. And they found that Connecticut, Minnesota, North Dakota, and Texas are back to pre-pandemic levels. So because of the pandemic, courts were closed, there were less filings. Before that, tons, millions, and now we're coming back. In fact, the 7 states that January Advisors looked at, they're all showing increases from 2020. In Michigan, like I said, where I practice, a 2022 study from Michigan Justice for All found the following reasons for a dismissal of a case in the pandemic era. Now, I found that during the pandemic, debt collectors got real serious, and they cut back on garnishments, they cut back on defaults, they settled cases, or they just dismissed them very easily, because the government was really on top of this as far as, in fact, a lot of companies I recall, just were not going forward with their cases because they didn't want, it was during the pandemic, nobody had money, but they kind of did. But no, everybody was sort of not working. So they found back in 2022 during the pandemic that the following 4 things happened to collection losses: a dismissal or withdrawal. That's where the plaintiff withdraws the case and doesn't act on it. You see that all the time. Back then, it was very prevalent. A default judgment. The court then enters a default judgment because the debtor does not answer. That's the biggest cause of default judgments. You don't want that. And we're going to look at the life cycle of a debt collection, a debt, and where it goes and how it can be stopped. Settlement. There were a lot of settlements, I remember back then, because nobody was working. The debt collectors were just settling for pennies on the dollar. Good. Or judgment, where there's actually a hearing, somehow Zoom, and the case got resolved through a judgment. So that was during the pandemic. But even then, 4.7 million collection lawsuits were filed. There were, in Michigan, according to Michigan Justice for All, and you're gonna like this because you're gonna see how familiar this is. The top 10, let me put it up there for you, Shazam. The top 10, I call them frequent filers. And you see number 1 is Midland Funding, number 2, Portfolio, PRA. Jefferson Capital Systems was number 3. Number 4 is Capital One, that's the first creditor. Number 5, our old friend LVNV Funding. Credit Acceptance, which is a auto debt loan service prevalent in Michigan. Calvary, which is an old debt buyer. Discover Bank, another creditor. Razor Capital, and then Bronson Healthcare. Well, that's medical debt. Medical debt is on the rise. So that's back at the end of 2019. Those were the frequent filers. In the new study from that article with the January Advisors, they found there's a top 7 of frequent flyers. And to show you what's happening in 2024, they produced this graph, Shazam. From those 7 states, you can see that the filings are up 120% from 2019 pre-pandemic filing level. But however, In this new study by General Advisors, they found some frequent flyers from the pre-pandemic Michigan study. And those were Calvary, Jefferson Capital, Portfolio Recovery, Accreditor, Capital One, Discover Bank, Midland Credit, and LVNV Funding all made it to the top of the filing list. And those color matches represent each creditor or debt buyer. So you can see there the orange, red orange is LVNV Funding, just 300% pre-pandemic. So why the surge? And we all remember, it's just yesterday about the pandemics, but here's 4 reasons, and there's gonna be a solution here for you. 4 reasons because of these increased filing. The end of government support. You remember, I remember when I came to Florida, I moved to Florida, so I was just tired of the restrictions in Michigan. I couldn't rent a place because nobody was required to pay rent. They were just, nobody was being evicted. I got the worst apartment, but because of all the government money that was out there, everybody was living pretty good. Although you're stuck in your house, you couldn't go places. So when that support ended, all these rents and credit cards and mortgages, they all became due. And now that's an exploding in collection lawsuits. Rising prices, inflation's just been through the roof for a while. Increased credit balances. People are living off their credit cards again. But here's the deal. You're gonna be surprised by this. One of the major reasons why there's increased filings is because AI-powered filing systems. That's right, the AI is coming whether you like it or not, and it is going to be, if it isn't already, a major part of your life, even in collection lawsuits. So AI, and I can see how to do it because it helps me in defense of collection lawsuits. So they are increasing their numbers with less employees and coming after even harder with AI-powered filing systems. Now, a frequent filer that I go against, LVNV Funding, more than, as I said, tripled its filings in 2024. So they are far outpacing any of the collectors in the database. When I do an LVNV Funding video, the views skyrocket. So I know that to be true. So just briefly, you'll notice that at least in the top 10, the Michigan study, and the top 7, the debt buyer dominates, which is surprising me because I see a lot of credited lawsuits. But they know after purchasing debts for pennies on the dollars, they go all in for the full amount, and people get an LVNV Funding or they get a Midland Credit or Calvary, and they go, I don't know what that debt is, I don't care about it. And you end up, at least with this new study that says 70% are now defaulting because they just don't even know who that is. But you will definitely recall how I am fighting fire with fire. For you, you can fight fire with my AI-powered ParkerGPT, and it is for non-lawyers to defend themselves. So nobody with an attorney is defaulting. That's 70% of the January study. None of them are represented by attorneys. The defaults come against non-represented individuals that are either blowing it off or feel like they can't handle the system because it's crushing. But ParkerGPT will handle this for you. All you need to do is upload your lawsuit to ParkerGPT, use the rocket ship prompt. So it's like a search term in Google. You just say, hey, could you please answer this lawsuit for me? Then press the rocket ship and it gives you a greater answer, a greater question or inquiry. Why do you want to do that? Because the response, the documents it will give you will be much better. Then to obtain your answer, counter affidavit, court letter, anything you need to respond to the lawsuit and even file it, click on the file, and what'll happen is it'll come back with everything you need, including a proof of service. So everything you need to file an answer and not get defaulted comes from ParkerGPT, and you don't need a lawyer. It's for non-lawyers. So here's what a fellow from Virginia did, and I will show you. Shazam. A Carlos Bonals, a Virginia civil engineer, decided to fight back when LVNV Funding sued him for 2008-24. He showed up in court. I figured, well, I'll give it a try. The result? LVNV couldn't prove they owned the debt and eventually dropped the case entirely. But he didn't stop there. He went on the offensive, suing LVNV and Resurgent. Anybody that's handled the LVNV, you know about Resurgent, under FDCPA violations. You can do all of that on ParkerGPT. So I would recommend, even with, I've got every video you want on all the top frequent flyers or frequent filers. They're all on Killdebt.com. But just remember, if you don't, the devastating effects of default judgment are the following: wage garnishment, bank account seizure, property liens, and asset hearings. That's where, when they get a judgment, they go to court and go, hey judge, and it's called a credit exam in most states, make that person come to a certain date, and now you've got to spill all your financial information to this debt buyer, debt collector, and you've got to do it under oath. So if you don't tell the truth and they find out something differently, now they're coming after you for perjury. It just gets snowball worse. You can avoid all that with ParkerGPT. Let me just quickly show you the life cycle of a debt. And here's titled Debt Collection 101. Shazam. So initially you'll get letters. This is my job every day. There'll be a case initiation. So remember we talk about garbage time? They'll file a lawsuit, but they won't serve it. It'll take a month or two. That's when you use one of my videos, how to fight back against debt collectors before you receive the lawsuit, before it's served. And that garbage time is very important for your defense when you know the lawsuit's coming. 3, defendants are entitled to know a claim has been filed against them and you get served. This is where the 70% default judgment happens. Number 4, you have to respond. You have to respond in 2 ways, and guess who says this to you all the time? Either file a motion to dismiss or file an answer. That's what you do with ParkerGPT. Then a hearing date, number 5, is scheduled. There's resolution, can be dismissed or the court enters judgment. And then there's number 7, that's the bad stuff. That's the enforcement. Liens on the default judgment, credit exams, garnishments, just a horrible mess you can avoid with really some click mouse strokes and you're out of it. So I want you to have an action plan. Here's the action plan. Don't ignore legal notices. I have been there. I've stuck my head in the sand. I still do it with stuff I don't want to do. We all do it. We always push it to the side. But don't do that. Action cures fear. So read everything carefully that you get. The court clerk in most states has online, you can see exactly what's going on in your case, when it was filed, any actions taken. Even if you're defaulted, that court file will help you, because the sooner you file a motion to set aside a default, the earlier you file it, the court is inclined 99% of the time to overturn a judgment against you if it's done within a certain amount of time after the judgment was entered against you. When you get back in the game, or if you are fighting this, use Killdebt.com to get everything you need to make them give you the proof, which is rare. Know your defenses. Killdebt is just the perfect place. ParkerGPT will give you everything you need, whether it be statute of limitations offenses, improper documentation, assignment issues, bill of sale issues. I've done hundreds of videos on this. It's all embedded in ParkerGPT. So with here's an ad. With ParkerGPT, you'll get instant document analysis. You upload your lawsuit, 1,200 legal templates, all from this silly brain, but 30 years of both state and federal litigation of fighting these guys. I've got the gray hair, use it. And there's over 380 videos for you to use, incorporated inside ParkerGPT. We take the transcript of all my videos and put it in ParkerGPT. So I feed this thing. Every question you have will be answered in triplet. So I want you to become a member of Killdebt.com and enjoy ParkerGPT. So you will have a battle plan before and after you are sued. But Before you get served, validate all the debts. Build up your legal arsenal with all the letters and forms I give you on ParkerGPT. Once you've been served, do not panic. You got 20 to 30 days. Make your own court docket so you know exactly what you need to do, when you need to do it. I've also got videos, and ParkerGPT, again, speaks my videos on how to settle before a lawsuit's been filed, during a lawsuit, and after a lawsuit the litigation's going. I also have videos on how to talk to Headset Harriet that's handling your debt before it's sued, or once the attorney gets a hold of it, how to talk to the attorney and kind of make him think he needs to settle with you. You can do it. Just watch my videos, go through ParkerGPT. But don't panic. Our AI response, fighting fire with fire, to what this article is showing, which I've seen for a couple of months now. I'm busy, and I talk to my peers and they're busy, and I talk to debt collectors and they're hiring because they know they're gonna have a banner great couple of years. They're honest about that. So you can fight back with AI power. They're using AI against you whether you like it or not. You can stick your head in the sand and go, I'm not gonna deal with it. They are using AI to quickly come for you. You can fight back with ParkerGPT with your own AI superpower. Let's go get them. Thank you.